Investigative journalists provide a service to our society by exposing these wrongs and informing the public. Do real journalists still exist? Joe's going to talk about it next.
Hey, does it take too much time to clean your gun and end up smelling like a gas station? Well, clean, lube, and protect your guns faster with SealOne. SealOne CLP Plus is also natural, non-toxic, and environmentally friendly. You don't need to separate products to clean, lube, and protect. Treat your gun one and done with SealOne. Clean faster and smell good. Ask for it by name at your local gun shop or ask them to get it. Or you can just go to their website, SealOne.com. That's SealOne and the number 1.com.
Just yesterday at our shooting social, we had a guy come up to me, one of our members who does a lot for us, and he said, "Hey, do you really use SealOne and put it under the sink to clean it?" And I said, "Yeah, I do. That's exactly."
See, he listens.
With my Glock, I just slather it up with SealOne and scrub it down, and then put it under hot water in the sink. Works like a charm.
You still do that?
I still do that. Works like a charm.
Hasn't frozen up yet.
It's a Glock. Technically, you don't even have to clean it.
Oh, where have I heard that before?
Right. All right, so Joe did an awesome article for us. Joe, Get a Grip with Joe Dramisi. Where have all the journalists gone? Joe, talk about your article. I thought it was very cool.
So yeah, we published this about a week ago, and you can find it on the San Diego County Gun Owners blog page there, or you can find it on getagrip.substack.com. But we're thinking about, or what I was thinking about, was journalists perform a really critical role, I think, or a really critical function, I guess, for our society, for our country. And traditionally, journalists are the ones that keep our leaders in line, basically. And it's when you've got politicians doing different things, when you've got good investigative journalists that are going to look at that stuff, it keeps them from doing things they shouldn't be doing. And when they do that, the journalists traditionally would expose that kind of stuff and inform the public so the public can, make informed decisions on that. And we seem to have lost that to a large degree nowadays in our country. There seems to be a pretty obvious bias in terms of journalism, what we have out here. And if you look at, what they refer to as the mainstream media, so the network news organizations, most of the cable news organizations, news magazines, things like that, are predominantly, in terms of politics, predominantly to the left. And it's always been that way pretty much in terms of just, if you want to talk about journalists in general or news people in general, they've always kind of leaned that way. But until recently, and I say recently, maybe the last 15 years or so, they've done a pretty good job at keeping that out of their work, basically, or their reporting. They may lean that lean that way personally, but they were pretty good about staying professional in the stuff they're reporting. And we're not seeing that so much anymore. And I think even more disturbing about that is you see them not even trying to hide that kind of thing anymore. And two good examples, if you look at CNN or MSNBC, for instance, if you look at it, it's blatantly politicized, to the left. And you see that kind of stuff not only in what they say and how they report things, but you notice if you look at things that don't get reported. For instance, if you find a Republican politician that does something scandalous or misbehaves in some way, you'll find that all over the place. They'll report the heck out of that. If you see the same thing on the left, not so much. And a good way to contrast that or take a look at it is if you look at what went on with President Trump with the Russia hoax and the Steele dossier and all that stuff. I mean, obviously untrue stuff that was, easy to verify right in the very beginning. And yet they kept that going for, 4 years, something like that? As opposed to if you look at some of the stuff involving Hunter Biden, for instance, nothing at all on that. And, even though there was a lot of obvious stuff that at least should have been investigated anyway, I should say. And
like a year ago, people were going, well, who cares about what his relationship with Ukraine? Well, it kind of got important, didn't it?
Yeah, and again, it does. And if people don't dig into that, because it's a lot of people, the public, really depend on those news organizations. And it used to be, places like the New York Times. And when I was in college, I used to read the New York Times. And that was always like the last word. You knew if you were reading it in the New York Times or the Washington Post, you could pretty much trust that. It was pretty credible, and that was like the top tier there of news organizations. And I don't know that there's many people that believe that anymore nowadays. And even journalists, that was a big deal years ago, and not that many years ago, maybe 20 years ago. But journalists made their careers that way by investigating something and breaking a big story. I mean, if you look at Woodward and Bernstein with Watergate, I mean, they looked for things like that. And if you look nowadays, the revealing the Russiagate hoax or the Russia hoax thing, when it started to become clear that okay, this was made up, it was fabricated, it started to become clear on who was involved and who actually fabricated it and who went forward. The people that were involved in the government, the CIA, the FBI. And that should be a huge story for journalists. Careers get made on that kind of stuff, and no interest. It's almost like some of them are almost like a propaganda arm. And I hate to be real harsh like that, but I mean that seems to be what it is. If you look at some of these places, and I think that's very damaging for our country, for our society, for our government. When you don't, we've lost that capability. We've lost those watchdogs. I think basically, for the government, and that's probably not a good thing for us going forward.
There are a few, but their voices just aren't loud enough. People aren't paying enough attention. Like a guy like Glenn Greenwald does a pretty good job. Or what was the guy from the AP that I sent you?
Oh yeah, Matt Lee.
Matt Lee. Holy cow, that guy's a lion. He's awesome.
Yeah,
but they're the exception.
And he was a great example too. And I'd seen that, and I didn't think to include that in my article because he's a great example of a real journalist. And there's just a great little video clip of him dealing with some State Department weasel.
Yeah.
And
that was his official title, I'm pretty sure.
It should have been. Weasel. Yeah. And but it was interesting because the State Department guy, I think was representing the administration, was saying, and he kept saying this over and over again, well, we have declassified information of the Russians creating these fake videos to show the Ukrainians attacking Russian people, and they were going to use that as part of the pretext for invading them. And Lee was just asking, okay, well, you're telling me you have declassified evidence. What is it? And the guy kept saying, well, I just told you, I just gave it to you. And Lee is saying, no, you just said that you had it. You didn't show us any evidence. And the guy just would not go. He just would not acknowledge that.
Well, he even said, they said, look, these Russian videos are fake. The Ukraine, of Ukrainians attacking, Russian people, Russian troops, whatever. It's fake. They're crisis actors. And Matt Lee's going, you're getting into Alex Jones territory here. Like, this is crazy. Now, meanwhile, the Ukraine invasion happened. And, Putin said, hey, look, we want to stop this. And one of the big things he asked for was stop attacking, Ukraine, stop attacking these Russian people or Russian allies. I mean, it was and the fact that the American government was so, vague and so ridiculous, with what they were saying. Now I'm sitting there trusting the Russian government more. I'm going, well, that actually sounds more plausible. Sounds like they might be telling the truth. And that's pathetic. And not me. It's pathetic on them.
And again, it shouldn't be Matt Lee by himself,
right,
checking into this. There should have been a lot of other journalists there, and we just don't seem to have that nowadays.
Thanks for watching this clip from Gun Owners Radio. You can watch us live every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. California time, right here on our YouTube channel, or if you're in the San Diego area, you can listen to us on 1170 a.m. We're also available on your favorite podcast platform for free. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can help restore and protect the Second Amendment, not just in California, but across the country.